Slight reorganisation for the Hammers at the back today, with Breaker returning. And Reaper out. Breaker goes to right back. Oh, what a mistake to make, and a goal. Charlie! Calamitous start for Middlesbrough keeper Walsh. Dowie gets the goal. Cottee gets the credit for putting the pressure on the former Manchester United goalkeeper. And that is the sort of horrendous mistake that goalkeepers have nightmares about. In only the second minute, West Ham take the lead, and there was no danger whatsoever. When the ball was rolled back by Neil Cox, why did he try to tee it up there? Cottee applied the pressure, nicked it towards Ian Dowie, who popped it into the empty net. Morris. Good running here from Mustoe to make himself available. Skip Bishop pulls it back. Chance of an equaliser. Great save from the Clarke, because that was struck with some venom by Craig Hignett, and a superb response from the Czech goalkeeper. It's the best Middlesbrough have conjured up so far, and it required instant action. Here goes Hughes. Cottee's away right. Here he is. Hammers up there too. Will Cottee will try from distance, and it whizzes by the right-hand upright. Fine try from Tony Cottee. He's in a bit of form at the moment, Cottee. 2 goals in his last 3 games. Taking on the men in red there and firing it just wide. Dix is in for this one. The keeper's in trouble. Out from under the bar. Bilic couldn't turn on it, and Middlesbrough survived, but are very fortunate not to be 2 down. So inside the last minute of the first half at Upton Park, West Ham a goal to the good, and trading passes down the right-hand side. Williamson has Breaker outside. There's the cross. Oh, it should have been 2. And again, Tony Cottee totally unmarked. Rose so well, but put it the wrong side of the upright. Williamson picked him out beautifully. No central defender anywhere near Tony Cottee, who should have scored. And West Ham are going to make the change that will please the crowd. A snapshot there of the debut for Hugh and a huge ovation for the Romanian World Cup star, who at long last makes his debut for the Hammers. Dumitrescu. Nice little touch from him. This is Hughes. They've only 2 in the middle though. So Bishop tees up Dix, who hammers it through. How did Dowie miss? Incredible miss, really. Although he was offside anyway. He'll probably be relieved too. An hour gone. Certainly John Hendry is going to have a taste of action, and it would appear that Juninho is being stripped for action too. And Piotr and Hignett are the 2 players reported. Double substitution there. So Piotr's powering run continues. And John Hendry, who's Scott, who has been around the Football League a number of times, and Juninho, the new hero of the Middlesbrough supporters from Brazil, get their chances. Going into the centre of midfield, just tucked in behind Barmby. Hendry will play up front. There's a header. Cox looks as though he can't believe it. Mr. Reid had no doubt. A wry smile on the face of Neil Cox. But what an opportunity this is for West Ham. Dowie with the header. Now let's have a look from this angle. Neil Cox coming across. The right arm, the right shoulder maybe, is seen by the referee to have ushered the ball along. Julian Dix has missed once this season, but he's had a pretty good record. 5 penalties he has converted. And this is Julian Dix. And it's 2-0. 63 minutes played. Dix belts the ball beneath Gary Walsh. And the Hammers are well on their way, it would seem, at 2-0. Confirmation of the substitutes, which have been made, a double substitution in fact, with John Hendry and Juninho on. And here's a chance of a goal for Middlesbrough, but it's knocked away off the line from the opening which appeared there. It seemed as though John Hendry was going to mark his entry with a goal when Juninho found him. Lovely roll pass from the Brazilian. Hendry taking it on, evaded Bilic, tucked it in past the goalkeeper, but it was knocked away by Potts. Well, Middlesbrough had so much of the play in this half, they had a right to feel as though they might get back. And instead of which, they're 2-0 behind instead of 1-0, and they've just had a shot cleared off the line, and on they go. Dix will keep this in. He'll swing a crossover, surely. It's aimed towards Gary. This could be 3. One played by Watford this time. Out of your picture, well, there he is. Chris Morris is injured. Well, he went down in this collision here in trying to get across to Dix. He seemed to twist. There was no foul by Dix, no question of that. Then Dix cantered on down the left to deliver the cross. It was perfect for Ian Dowie. He looked to scorer when he soared there for the header. Full forehead. Good stop, Gary Walsh. Branco's pushed it into the path of Fleming now. There might be a space up the middle for Hughes here. On he goes, the keeper's up the line. Great chance this one for Hughes to get the third. And Pearson comes across well. And there was a great interesting save there by the keeper to deny Hughes. Good defending from Pearson, who got across quickly, just to make it difficult for Hughes, but it still required a save from Walsh.
Brian, you must be at your wit's end at the moment.
Well, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot at the moment. I mean, we've given West Ham a perfect start to the game with a bad mistake. And that always makes it hard work for you, because people can keep the shape and, you know, let you come on to them and try and break out at you. And I mean, I was quite pleased with more or less the overall performance from them. But we just giving bad goals away at the moment. And then I thought when we took a grip on the game for the first 20 minutes of the second half, you know, just at the time when we needed to score, and that I thought the ref gave a dubious decision where, you know, I've seen about 5 of them in the last fortnight on TV and none of them have been given. The ball's hit a bobble and it's bounced up on Neil Cox with nobody near him who was going to put the ball in the net. But this time the referees give it.
Danny's been in tremendous form for us, Danny Williamson, but I felt today he was maybe just a little bit off. He's had a bit of an injury all week, but I thought Dixie was magnificent. I thought he was an outstanding player again for me, and he has been in great form, there's no doubt about that. I mean, at the moment he's doing everything right, he's looking after himself well, and he's in great shape, and he's in great form.
It's now or never for Queen's Park Rangers, a time when futures will be sorted out one way or another. Hardly a tabloid day passes without Trevor Sinclair being linked with somebody, and in times of trouble, the headlines are getting bigger as the deadlines are getting closer.
The way I look at it is just paper talk, something for the papers to sell their papers, and I've got to just get on with my job for QPR.
How do you see it? You want to stay here for the rest of the season and help them fight the battle to stay in the Premiership?
Most definitely, that's my only one aim this year, is to keep QPR in the Premier League, and I'll do everything I can to do so.
I read in one paper this morning said you're already looking at property in South Manchester, is that right?
Total lies.
Well, Ray Wilkins may be feeling the heat, but you'd never know it. And just for the record, he signed and he signed and he signed autographs for everybody at Aston Villa, and that was refreshing to see. He certainly would have been encouraged by the way his side performed in spells, and Trevor Sinclair's powerful, purposeful running was a constant threat to a Villa side known for its mean defending. But Sinclair was forced to concede centre stage to Savo Milosevic, who, having found the knack of scoring goals, finds he likes the taste. A delightful opening effort, Serbian enterprise, Trinidadian decoration. Dwight Yorke's return ball inviting Milosevic to go on and score his 3rd goal in 2 games. And that is a real beauty. At times, though, Rangers didn't really help themselves. failing to clear the ball when really they should have done, and Gareth Southgate playing in the centre of midfield, almost taking advantage. 1-0 at the break, then suddenly Trevor Sinclair and Rangers began to take over early in the second half. Rangers looked as if they believed in themselves. Suddenly the Villa defence wasn't so sure. They were hustling and harrying the home side, and when the ball was finally given away, it was Sinclair's cross that found its way to Danny Dicchio. He adjusted his footing beautifully and planted the ball past Bosnich. It took an awful long time to come down, but Dicchio was nicely balanced, and suddenly it was 1-1, and it was game on. It could and should have been 2-1 almost immediately. Villa's defence allowing Dicchio space again, but he couldn't direct the header, and that was a chance that really got away. Eventually the pressure did tell though. Quick thinking from Simon Barker from the free kick as Villa sorted themselves out. Bosnich blocked the first effort. Kevin Gallen the quickest to react. It was 2-1 and Rangers looked to be in control. But with Gareth Southgate off injured, Julian Joachim injected pace up front. Gary Charles began raiding down the right, and Dwight York stepped up a gear to score his 21st of the season in magnificent style. York has that happy knack of being able to conjure up something special just when the side's in a jam, and that was a collector's item. Charles must have thought it was Christmas, so much space to exploit. Once again, he provided the silver service. Once again, York provided the finish. You could see the confidence draining from Rangers. All the good work undone. York second, Villa's third, and suddenly there looked to be only one winner. Needless to say, it was Charles again who helped create the fourth goal. Alan Wright's shot going in off Steve Yates, very unlucky, but no way back, and Rangers now deep in the mire.
We've got a series of games starting last midweek with Sheffield Wednesday, teams who are in that bottom 5 or 6, 7, and they're scrapping, they're fighting, they're not going to give in, and they're awkward games for us. We feel we can win them, but we know they're going to be hard fought, and today was the same. Queen's Park Rangers worked hard, never gave up, and we encouraged them by not getting that second goal early doors. And yeah, credit to them, they're going to work hard, they're going to give it a go, but ultimately, you know, they just failed in the last sort of 15 minutes or so.
We've got to keep plugging away. We've got games remaining in the Premier League, and we have to see them through. We have to give it our best shot for the supporters that travelled away today, and we just got to keep plugging away. That's all there is to it.
I know you say that. Do you feel it deep down? I mean,
of course I feel it deep down. It's there's 8 games to go. There's matches to be won, and points to be got. We've just got to make sure that we cut out these errors, and I'm sure we'll get those points.
It was the day Mark Hottiger thought would never come. It's been 7 long weeks of waiting for a work permit since signing from Newcastle United. But putting politics behind him, his 50-day wait was over.
Every day I hoped my work permit go through, but I had to wait till last Thursday to know it's all right, and now I'm very pleased. And
it's been a long time without a game. How fit do you feel? How easy do you think it's going to be to get back into the Premiership?
I don't know. I will see, but I'm fit. My fitness is all right. I'm training from 6 weeks now in Everton, and I think my fitness is okay. And I think with the team, I think it's going okay.
A hero's reception in his new home and a keen interest in his homeland. Swiss TV were following his comeback with Euro 96 in mind.
I think for him it's a very important day. He comes back after 10 months. He has not played in a championships game, and looking forward to the European Championships is very important for him to play today.
Hottiger, who last played in the Premiership back in October, huffed and puffed his way through a full 90 minutes. It was the full-back on the other side of defence who took the eye. Andy Hinchcliffe delivering one of those dippingly accurate crosses for Duncan Ferguson to give Everton an 18th minute lead. It was a lethal combination, Hinchcliffe's left foot, which has few equals, and Ferguson's leaping and heading ability. A terrible start for Coventry, who were without Everton old boys Kevin Richardson through suspension and David Burrows through injury. The onus was on Noel Whelan, who forced Neville Southall into an early save. Southall deserved an assist for Everton's second. His long kick was won in the air by Ferguson, and turn touched on by Graham Stewart, and Ferguson raced away to beat Steve Grizovic. Goodison Terrace hero Ferguson beginning to look the complete player. Everyone knows about his outstanding headed ability, but manager Joe Roll was delighted by his turn of pace, something he's demanding to see more often. The tall, strong, brave type of centre-forward is back in fashion. Everton with Ferguson, Coventry Whelan. The striker threw himself in bravely where the boots were flying, forcing Southall to excel again. But Whelan paid a heavy price. 6 stitches to a head wound. He played no further part. Ironically, it was when Coventry were down to 10 men that they pulled back. Liam Daish thumping in his first goal since leaving Birmingham. Daish was signed by Ron Atkinson to stop goals. Nothing fancy, Ron demanded, but for once he'll forgive the Irish international for disobeying orders. Even then it looked as though Coventry were going to be struggling to pull back. Early in the second half, Andrei Konchelskis teased, Amakachi teed at Graham Stewart, missed a chance to make it 3-1. Maybe that was Coventry's spur. 39-year-old Gordon Strachan came on. The inspirational Daish went very close to scoring an unusual brace. Coventry showed undeniable spirit and determination. A minute later, Solarco threw in a cross, and Paul Williams showed the same kind of commitment as Whelan earlier to throw himself in. The prize for his fearless endeavour, an equaliser with 5 minutes to go. Big Ron and Big Joe agreed the draw a fair share. Everton missed out on a chance to go 5th by dropping points, but Coventry stayed 2 points in 2 places away from the relegation zone. I was going to say, when you were 2-0 up, it could have been 4 or 5, the way you were playing, the way you're dominating the game.
Yes, we were well on top, and I could see it being quite comfortable, but, you know, we're still in this transitional period. We're still not, or far from being the finished article, and a little bit of naivety betrayed us in 1 or 2 positions. We got carried away, and second half we were so undisciplined, particularly in midfield, that they kept running through us, and I was disappointed in that. But on the bright side, we've got a point out of it, so it's not all bad.
In conclusion, I would imagine you're very happy with the way your team have performed in the end.
Yeah, I mean, first half hour didn't kick off, 2 down, looking down the barrel. But the funny old thing about us for a team in our position is, and we've said it many times, we can all score goals. And when it got to 2-1 was a big score at half-time. You know, it gives us we're 1 shot away from an equaliser, aren't we? And we pegged away. They had some chances. We had some chances second half, and obviously we're very pleased that we've got what could be at the end of the day a very vital point.
Stewart up there, Stewart got to Agnew, really making up ground, and Russell, and that's 1-0 to Sunderland. It's Craig Russell again. A really fast break by the Roker men. Agnew chased it all the way, and Russell was hunting in the middle for the chance that came, and he tucked it away. 1-0 Sunderland, 7 minutes gone, the perfect start. And playing it away from Russell, Russell giving it a chase, and looking at number 2, he really belted that one, and Holt, it took him everything to keep it out. Nobody supporting then for Sunderland as Russell broke, but he hammered his shot in, and it almost took Holt right off his feet. So much activity from Sunderland in midfield. Now Martyn Scott. Bracewell. The defence ready to sit and wait, and Scott's in a good position here, and that's 2-0. It's Agnew. Derby carved open again. They were left static at the back, and Agnew came in on the far side this time. Scott was supporting. Agnew provided the finish. That is 2-0 to Sunderland. And Russell comes up with the ball as well. Stewart is away, the flag's down. Stewart now could make it 3-0 at half-time. But Holt stood his ground well. That really would have wrapped it up, surely. Just approaching the halfway marker through this second period of 45 minutes. Third now would really put some distance on Derby. And there it is! It's Craig Russell! 3-0 now. Sunderland looking so good. And Derby have the mountain to climb now.
The Millwall match, a fixture with a genuine derby edge, was guaranteed to test Charlton's team spirit, but any fraying nerves were settled by the youngest player on the pitch. Lee Bowyer's emergence is one big difference from 2 years ago, and his brilliant goal was a real boost just 5 minutes in. But Bowyer's imminent suspension is another reason Alan Kirbishley believes he needs several new players. There's a competitive edge to Bowyer's game, and he can become rather excited. Fortunately for Charlton, referee David Allison preferred not to reach for his top pocket every time there was a full-blooded challenge. The sensible course of action. Both sides were encouraged to try and play constructive football at a high tempo. Charlton threatened to start the second half as they did the first, when Kim Grant scurried away down the left. His cross wrong-footed the Millwall defence, but Casey Keller stood firm to block Carl Lieburn's shot. Fatigue and a certain amount of anxiety began to set into Charlton's side. They started to rely heavily on Chris White's experience and organisational skills. And Millwall's profligacy in attack. Only Luton Town have scored fewer goals in Division 1 this season. Charlton brought on the experienced Mark Robson and Gary Nelson to help them close out the game. They did more than that. A minute from the end, Nelson's deflected shot dropped in just the right place, and Lieburn doubled Charlton's money. Even the manager broke into something approaching a smile. It was 60 years since the Charlton side had completed the double over Millwall. Much more important were the points, and ending all that talk of the inevitable slide into mid-table oblivion. Even his biggest enemies might have to admit Crystal Palace chairman Ron Nodes got it right when he moved Dave Bassett in as manager last month. More than 18,000 saw a fourth home win running, and another well-taken goal from Dougie Friedman. Brian Horton might have pulled off one of the bargain deals of the season last week when he signed Crewe's out-of-contract striker Rob Edwards. He cost just £150,000. He scored a wonderful debut goal 15 minutes from the end to turn Huddersfield's possession into points. It's been a long time coming, but Martyn O'Neill has finally won a home game, 3 months after taking over as Leicester manager. Steve Claridge was signed to lead from the front alongside Ewan Roberts, but their understudy Emil Heskey was Saturday's star performer. Grimsby have hit trouble. A free kick from player-manager Brian Laws was headed in by Steve Livingston, and they appeared to have ended a run of 4 heavy defeats. Instead, 4 minutes from the end, Grimsby's brittle defence gave way again. It was hardly cultured, but Heskey's second goal of the game could be hugely significant. If you watch Ipswich, you'll see goals, you'll be entertained, but you might also end up with a heart condition. Their defending can be quite dreadful. John Walk clattered into Andy Payton. Neil Redfern put away the penalty. Just 8 minutes later, the Ipswich back four and goalkeeper Richard Rice were badly caught out of position by Darren Sheridan's through ball and Andy Liddell's pace. And when Ipswich backtracked 2 minutes into the second half, allowing Redfern to roam free and to demonstrate his shooting prowess from 25 yards out, Barnsley were on their way to another win. But they dropped their guard. A swaggering, cheeky spell of keep ball 5 minutes from the end ended with goalkeeper Dave Watson on his backside and the ball in the Barnsley net. Ian Marshall had been wound up, and so had the rest of the Ipswich team. Suddenly, the division's top scorers were swarming everywhere, and when Marshall burst through the middle again, Barnsley was suffering a major panic attack. Not even the frantic whistling for the referee to blow for time could stop Ipswich now. Alex Mathie worked some space down the left, and Simon Milton made it 3 goals in 5 minutes to round off a remarkable comeback. They might be where the bookies expected them to be at the start of the season, but on current form, Port Vale look too good to go down. They've got games in hand on the rest of the teams around them, and they're scoring goals. Right winger John McCarthy has been in excellent form. The goal they conceded will not have pleased manager John Rudge. Jerome Bora, who's failed to make it at West Ham and Crystal Palace, started the move and had time and space to squeeze in his first Southend goal. Goalkeeper Simon Roystow was Southend's outstanding player, but he wasn't good enough to prevent the Vale winner. Andy Porter blasted in the first shot. Lee Glover wasn't to be denied.
Norwich have a corner, aimed at Newsom, comes out as far as Milligan. What a super goal by Mike Milligan. Unstoppable. Allen. Burton. Now Hall.
Some of them get lost in Spaghetti Junction, never to be seen again. But two of Barry Fry's recent signings have settled in well. Paul Devlin scored 2 against Wolves in midweek. He made one on Saturday for Birmingham's other recent signing from Notts County, Andrew Legg. It's been a fortress in recent seasons, but Tranmere now struggle for every point at Prenton Park. They could do with Ian Moore recovering his early season form. But the young striker supplied John Aldridge with his 21st of the season. The second half followed the same pattern. More Keystone Cops defending, according to the Tranmere boss John King. And a goal for Jonathan Hunt, who is one player not going anywhere. At least that's what Barry Fry was saying on Saturday. But Tranmere recovered. Their second equaliser was either absolutely fabulous or a fluke. Whatever your judgment, Alan Rodgers' effort was too good for Fred Barber.
Gilks will curl it in towards the goal. It's a dangerous looking ball, away by Young. Mika goes in for it, now Gooding might go for the shot. He does so, he got a deflection. Gooding was somewhat fortunate. He was always going to go for the shot. Mika got the header in. Gooding taking the ball round his man, was going to go for the shot. It got a cruel deflection, and it's Gooding who puts Reading into the lead. Corica taking the ball on into his stride. It's a good turn. Eventually forced to hand over to Emblin. Lack of control on the first attempt there. He's lucky to get it back again. Let's see what he can do this time. Curled in. Atkins is there in space. An excellent goal.
Watford had to win this one. Maybe the fear of losing it contributed to Oldham's defeat. Their recent record is almost as bad as Watford's, and once Craig Ramage had dived in to score, Watford always looked like making it win number 1 under Graham Taylor and Luther Blissett. Ramage has been moved from midfield to attack. Maybe the switch has come too late. Maybe this victory has as well. But there was no denying the quality of Ramage's and Watford's second. Sean McCarthy scuffed one in for Oldham towards the end, but after 90 ineffective minutes, manager Graham Sharp kept his players in the away dressing room for another hour.
A match the league leaders would have expected to win against one of the division's struggling sides. And Swindon looked on course for their 10th home league victory when skipper Sean Taylor nodded them in front with only 6 minutes left. Deep at injury time, Walsall secured a point with an unlikely equaliser. Substitute Martyn Butler picked out an unmarked Scott Houghton, whose shot just crept in. Blackpool closed the gap on Swindon to 3 points. Tony Ellis was their match winner. Andy Morrison provided the assist. Ellis's headed goal on 11 minutes proved the difference. Crewe's decision to cash in on some of their top names could backfire. Their promotion rivals took all 3 points. John French brought the game to life with Rovers' first of the afternoon, 2 minutes after the break. Crewe's response was almost immediate. Within 4 minutes, Mark Rivers had made it all square. But Marcus Stewart, the Ensley League's joint leading scorer, kept Rovers' season on track. Goal number 26 for the club's prize assets, and only a goal line clearance prevented them from adding to that lead. Crewe manager Dario Grani will hope the arrival of on-loan striker Gary Blissett can make all the difference. There's no sign of a Brighton revival. Chesterfield have now won 11 of their 15 league games at Saltergate. Mark Williams' header just crossed the goal line. But Brighton can count themselves unfortunate not to have taken anything from this meeting. They certainly had enough goal-scoring chances, but the luck wasn't on their side. 2 goals in the space of 7 minutes midway through the first half led to Bradford's downfall. Matt Murphy was first to react to this long ball, and substitute Paul Moody played the supporting role to perfection and was left with no more than a tap-in. Martyn Aldridge has a long way to go before he matches the goal-scoring feats of his namesake John. He sprung the offside trap and finished in some style to keep Oxford's league campaign and playoff hopes very much alive.
Smith going through the middle. That's good. Oh yes! Well done, son. Well done, Anderson. 1-0.
Stockport's erratic home form let them down once again. Mike Flynn conceded the penalty minutes after the restart. And Lee Power's spot kick sent Neil Edwards the wrong way. Only 1 home victory this year for Stockport. Adrian Heath is the new manager at Burnley, and the board of directors are convinced he's the man to stop the rot.
On behalf of everybody at Burnley Football Club, I know you're going to make a success of it.
His arrival certainly had the desired effect with the club's first away win for 3 months, and all that after City striker David Seal's penalty miss. Kurt Nogan gave Heath the perfect start to his new job. With the only goal of the match, his 23rd of the season, the early signs are encouraging. Now they must build on that. Heath is fully aware of the enormous potential. A long-standing injury has prevented Keith Ryan from being involved in Wickham's first-team affairs for the best part of a year. Now he's back, he's determined to hold on to his first-team place, and he's going the right way about it. His header gave them the advantage, but within 10 minutes, Shrewsbury's leading scorer Ian Stevens saw his ambitious back heel pay off as he beat Steve Dijkstra, who's on loan from Queen's Park Rangers.
Keeping his balance well and riding the challenges. Real danger man. Now here's Nigel Jensen, who's not a bad player either. And there's the reason why I say it. Now Hodge trying to get there. Reckon intervening. Here's Crawford. Good effort! Oh, he's rocketed the bar. Chalky score.
A relegation battle at Bootham Crescent, and not the result either club was looking for. Carlisle are on course for a quick return to Division 3. David Curry could be the player to help them stay up. He struck on 9 minutes, but the York substitute, Paul Stevenson, produced something a little special from this free kick, a point apiece. Bournemouth's on-loan striker Keith Scott took just 2 minutes to register his first goal for his new club. Hull were hardly out of the starting blocks when Scott met Jason Brissett's cross. The player was later sent off for violent conduct. Jimmy Graham earned the division's bottom club a point with a well-taken header, but with time running out, a draw is simply not good enough for Hull. This clash between the division's top 2 sides ended in stalemate. Gillingham, who boast the meanest defence in the country, conceded a rare home goal minutes into the second half. Simon Davey maintained Preston's excellent strike rate. No team in the NC League has scored more goals. But 18 minutes from time, Mark Harris connected with Dominic Naylor's free kick, and Gillingham have a 3-point lead over their nearest rivals with 12 games left. Cambridge are sinking fast, and there was very little sympathy from visiting manager Neil Warnock, who called them worse than bottom club Torquay. Chris Billy added to their troubles with Plymouth's opener on 9 minutes. Cambridge, who are 1 off the bottom of the table and whose league status is in question, staged a second half fight back with Micah Hyde tying it up at 1-1. Richard Logan, though, put playoff contenders Plymouth back in control. Not that he knew too much about the goal. The hosts, who'd won only 5 of their 17 home games, weren't finished yet. And when a penalty was awarded in their favour for a foul on Tony Richards, Carlo Corazon accepted the responsibility and didn't let his teammates down. But with 9 minutes left on the watch, Ian Baird ended their fight back. His deflected shot went in, a costly defeat for Cambridge, who find themselves in deep trouble. Before Saturday's trip to Feetham's, Torquay were the only club without an away win. The division's bottom side put that right at the weekend. 2 up in 14 minutes. Alex Watson's well-directed header rocked Darlington back on their heels. And within 2 minutes, Rodney Jack had inflicted further damage on the home defence. Darlington eventually woke up to the task facing them, and 10 minutes from time, Matt Appleby's deflected free kick gave them a late consolation. There were 2 goals in 2 minutes at Underhill. It was the first time in Chester's history that they played at this ground, and when Mickey Tomlinson put Barnet ahead after 56 minutes, it seemed as if they'd be remembering the visit for all the wrong reasons. Chris Priest came to their rescue. Although Chester occupy one of the playoff spots, they're drawing too many games. At least Priest guaranteed them a point for their troubles, but less than convincing from the team riding high in the table. Lincoln's first home defeat in 5 months, and manager John Beck is frank in his assessment of the club's hopes of making any impact at all. He readily admits they're not good enough. Colin Greenall took 8 minutes to make his mark for Wigan, but having won control, they then let Lincoln back into the match. 2 minutes later, they were level from a set-piece as Colin Allside headed in the corner. The introduction of Spaniard Isidro Diaz in the second half proved the turning point for Wigan. His cross was met by Gavin Johnson, whose stunning volley restored their lead. And 3 minutes later, Diaz was brought down in the penalty box, and Kevin Sharp slotted home the spot kick. There was plenty more drama to follow. Gareth Ainsworth scored Lincoln's second to make a fight of it, and an excellent solo goal it was. A determined run and a quality finish. A minute later, Mark Leonard, another Wigan substitute, completed the scoring. An eventful afternoon at the Sinsel Bank. 4-2, the final score. Bury's finishing let them down at Layer Roads, where Colchester defender Gus Caesar finished off a set-piece routine with a splendid header, and they're now only 2 points behind Bury in the table. A few more results like this and Northampton Town could sneak into the playoffs yet. They're nicely positioned after this home triumph at the expense of Lodi Scarborough. They carved open the visitors' defence with ease. Jason White's near-post header was just perfect. And they made sure of the points 17 minutes into the second half. Ian Sampson extended their lead as the pressure finally told. 2-0, the margin of victory.
First time ball for Braithwaite to chase. Williams has come out. Braithwaite getting the shot in. Is that going to go in the net? It is! Leon Braithwaite puts Exeter in front.
Scunthorpe, who hadn't won in 7 matches, continued their losing sequence, and this latest defeat cost manager Dave Moore his job. The only goal came 2 minutes after the interval as the home side failed to clear the danger. Chris Hargreaves pounced. A month ago, Fulham were fighting for survival. Now they're heading for mid-table respectability. Cardiff were caught napping as Rod Macquarie made his free kick count after half an hour. Phil Neal's taken over at Ninian Park, but he was just an embarrassed spectator as his players were outfought and outclassed. Rob Scott nipped in for Fulham's second, with keeper Stephen Williams caught short. There were then 3 goals in 3 minutes. Mike Conroy was not to be denied. It took him 3 attempts to hit the target, but he got there at the end. Moments later, Carl Dale, the 3rd Division's leading marksman, made it 26 for the season. But the anticipated fight back failed to materialise, and Conroy claimed his second of the match to seal an emphatic victory. 2 teams in the lower reaches of the table, with Mansfield too close to the bottom for comfort. They fell behind at Victoria Grounds late in the first half when Steve Howard used his strength to good effect. Steve Slauson guaranteed Mansfield an important away point with a diving header that went in off the post. 1-1 the final scoreline. Leyton Orient's best away performance for a long time, but that will be little comfort to manager Pat Holland's. One away win in 59 games, an appalling record. Dave Lancaster on loan from Bury headed Rochdale's winner.